Welcome to Zonie Living. I'm Bonnie Stevens. Do you or someone you know feel stuck in a life that doesn't suit you? Our guest today is a certified master life coach who specializes in helping people, especially women, who know deep in their heart and soul that they are meant for more. Donna Whitley splits her time between Scottsdale and Denver and has been studying personal development since really she was a child. Donna Whitley is joining us in the studio to help us get unstuck and find out just who we think we are. Donna, welcome.
Thank you, Bonnie. So happy to be here. I'm such a fan of yours and your books, and it's such an honor to be here with you.
Well, I feel the same way. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, you have a certification from the International Coaching Federation. You have a master's degree in communications, and you've developed a signature system that gets people talking and moving and getting them to the place that they really should be. So we'll get to all that in a minute, but first I want to point out, you told me this is not therapy. This is not therapy that you do.
No.
You say therapy is your old story, and this is your new story.
Coaching deals with your new story. I also like to say it's your old life versus your new life.
Oh, I love that.
This therapy, you're dealing with things that have happened in your past and how that's affecting you now. In coaching, we do a deep dive into where you are right now and where you want to go in the future, where you want to be in the future, what you want your life to look like. And then we address that gap that's in between those two places, where you are and where you want to be. And we define strategies and practices that help you get to where you want to be. And that's what coaching is about.
And coaching is not for just a certain age or a certain
Coaching
person.
is for everyone. My client base is generally women from 40 to 75 because
Wow.
we are constantly going through transitions that make us different people. So as we go along, we have different issues that we're trying to deal with and different needs and different desires as we go through our life.
We sure do, and our life is constantly changing. Now, when you and I were talking earlier, we were talking about what happens if you don't become the person or allow yourself the freedom to be the person that you were meant to be. What happens to us? I'm sure there's anger and frustration that kind of manifests in a side of us.
Yeah, it can metastasize. So as we are creative, we are born as creative people, and if we don't find some outlets for our creativity, if we don't find a way to be able to control our lives and so that we can access that creative part of us, it really takes us to a place where we really aren't living as full human beings.
You know, and we've talked before about what creativity does for a person. And it feels like if you doodle or if you are playing with your grandkids, that you're just doing something for somebody else or just keeping, just wasting time. But it's actually what we need to be doing. We need to be creative.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have to access that part of our brain because that's what keeps us young and keeps us vital and keeps us going and appreciating life as it is. Otherwise, it becomes a very black and white world. It becomes a very two-dimensional world. We really need that creativity to fill our lives.
And that could be music. Or...
It could be music. It could be anything. It could be writing a story. It could be it could be an adventure of some sort. There's so many different ways to be creative, and it's there. You just have to look at all of the different avenues that really bring you joy to bring out that creativity.
Well, I'm thinking about when my husband, my granddaughter, my grandson, and my son decided we would paint rocks. This was recently. And we all got so involved that the dogs were even sleeping next to us. It was just a really quiet, peaceful time. And what we did with these rocks, we put them out and created a little rock garden out in the backyard. And when I go by those, I just smile and I laugh. And I can remember, what we said when we looked at them. But it really was a great break from, we can certainly worry all the time. And there are always going to be things that need to be done and problems that need to be solved.
Yeah.
And I know you've got some great advice for that. I want to talk about your signature program first. And
Okay.
yeah, I love the name because it makes me think of if you're stuck, I think of being in a hole. And then I think the only way you can get out is by climbing out of it. And so you take the acronym CLIMB and you help us remember the steps that your program goes through.
Yeah, so this is a process that I've worked for 5 years on this process, and I find that this is a really nice way for us to have a system in place for us to go through the coaching process. So the first thing, which is so important, is clarity and getting clear about what we really want out of our life. And it's something that we really don't ask ourselves very often. What do I really want? Because especially as women, we are always taking care of other people, and we lose knowing what that's about, knowing what brings us joy and what brings us love, and what brings us to a place that makes us human beings. So we have to kind of pull that out and find out what that is, get clear about where we want to take our life.
And I know that's not easy. I know that that's not a simple question. When you ask somebody, what do you really want, they may give you a surface level answer.
Right.
And then you just keep going deeper and deeper.
And it's like sometimes I will ask them, okay, what do you want? And they'll give me an answer, and I'll say, okay, what do you want? And it takes about 20 times of asking that question till they really kind of get the gist of what is going on with their body and reacting to what's bringing them some joy around, and going back to childhood and figuring out what brought them joy then, because it's been so suppressed for so long. So clarity is a real key piece. And as you go through the process, the clarity might change. Because you thought, this is what I wanted, and you work towards that thing. And then you find that, no, that's not really what I want. It's a really great way to come back and tweak your growth.
And it's really unfolding.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always evolving.
Okay, so clarity, and it's not simple. So
No, it is not simple.
What's L?
So L is language, and what we work around in the language area of coaching is figuring out how you're talking to yourself, the words that are happening not out loud but inside. Also, looking at the language you're using outside, your verbal language, and how is that limiting you, or how is that enhancing your life? How is that bringing you to a place where you want to be? For example, I can do this, I can't do this. Either way, you're right. Yeah, that's a common saying. I look for opportunities, or I am afraid of opportunities. It's looking at the language we're using and seeing if that's serving us or not.
So one is empowering us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the other
one's
one might be
limiting us.
defeating us.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah. Which brings me to I am enough. and you were saying that so many of us don't feel like we're enough. And that's one of the reasons we need a coach, to recognize and remind people who they are and how powerful they are. So, okay, language, really important, something we overlook, and something we're constantly...
You really need to be self-aware of the language that you're using with yourself and with others.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, and with anybody you're working with, your kids, whatever. It's really to be just aware of the words you're using and what the implications are.
Good tip. And so the I?
The I is identity.
Okay.
Probably one of the most important areas that we work on, because again, this is an area where it's continuously changing. Your identity is always changing. And we also have to create an identity where we can bring those things into life that are important to us. So, a lot of times we'll start with, well, what does that mean? And I say, well, you start with the words, I am. And then what flows from there is what your identity is.
Oh, I love that. I think you mentioned that your identity is sort of like you can try on a dress. You can
Right,
try on
absolutely.
and see how this feels. Does
Absolutely.
and it might be a little uncomfortable too, and that's part
And
of
usually
the
it is a little
process, right?
uncomfortable because we will always prove ourselves true,
Okay.
right? So if we want a new identity, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle because we're actually, it's like growing our wings. It's like being a caterpillar and becoming a butterfly. It's not an easy process, and so it's a struggle, but the outcome is so worth it.
And I think it's important to note that other people around you may not be comfortable with your new identity.
That's a big issue for a lot of my clients.
And so you have to be strong and really believe, and they need a coach to say, no, this is who you need to be. This is who you said you are. You can't fall back into this other person because you're wasting your life.
Well,
right?
and then it becomes living your life for somebody else.
Oof. Yeah.
And a lot of times you may have to lose some people in your lives to fully grow into the person you're meant to be. And that's
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I have a friend that helps a lot of people that are in distress, and she does a great job. But I think as soon as they start getting on their feet, the dynamic changes, and I'm not sure that this person is happy with that. So we can't try to please somebody else and go at whatever stages we're going through.
Right.
That's who we are, and we're identifying as something that may not be comfortable for somebody else.
Well, it's a simple example is when people stop drinking.
Oh,
right?
exactly.
And then all of their friends are like, "Well, who are you to stop drinking?" And and they put a lot of pressure on that person who has this new identity.
That's
I'm not a
tough.
drinker.
Yeah.
And that ties back to the language too. Is I'm a drinker versus I'm not a drinker.
Yeah.
Right? It's that language that you're
You don't have to
using,
make
and
excuses.
that ties
It's just-
into your identity. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
All right. And the M.
The M is for movement. This is so key, is you've got to take action. You've got to take teeny tiny steps, and then you reward yourself for taking those teeny tiny steps. You exercise that courage muscle that's so important for change. And that's the movement where we concentrate on what actions you're taking and what habits you're creating to help support you in this new identity and this new life that you're creating.
Yeah, I like that. I especially like the small wins.
Yeah.
Celebrating the small wins.
You have to celebrate the small wins.
And then the B.
And then the B is we begin again. So we start the whole process over based on what your next step is going to be, what the next action is going to be in your evolving self to create this new person that's going to live in a fulfilled life.
I love this climb because this climb can start over. And so with
again,
different
yeah.
goals, different chapters, different places, different events.
Exactly.
Love that. Well, another thing that I absolutely love about Donna is that she takes the time to send out motivating e-newsletters that are really fun to read. She has fun writing them, I can tell. They make me laugh, and I laugh out loud in when I'm reading those. And I love one that you wrote recently, and it was about figuring out our priority. And you purposely said priority, not priorities, because you say having more than one can steal days and months from our progress if we let it. That's a little scary to me. And then having more than one priority scrambles the eggs of our brain. Love that quote. So is it just what we do? We just overwhelm ourselves and distract ourselves from forward movement?
Well, there are so many things that are interfering with us taking care of our priorities. One, which is a big one, is fear of our own greatness. Then other people deem their priority as more important than ours, or we take other people's priority and deem it as more important than ours. There are what I call imagined emergencies that we think we have to deal with now, but we don't. There's the habits that we have, so we don't focus on our priority. It's hard. There's instant gratification. Well, it's easier for me to just get up and go scroll on my phone than it is to sit here and do this hard work that I know I need to do. It's something that I want to do. or it's as simple as believing that having a clean house is more important than you moving towards the person you want to be.
And having a clean house, meaning you get up and you
Yeah,
go
of course.
scrub the floor.
Of course.
Rather than work on your priorities.
Of course.
Okay. And then there's always priorities. There
Yeah.
are always problems to be solved,
Yeah.
things to be done,
Yeah.
things we can work on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love when you said, we have this fear of our own greatness. That's that. If you keep going with that, it feels like that's a really deep hole to go down. And I think part of that is what we sort of touched on earlier, is that it might make other people uncomfortable, and we may even be put down for just who do you think you are kind of attitude.
Yeah. So do we believe we are enough?
And that's why I have this here, so we remember that we can, am I enough? Yes, because going back to what you said before is we are the creators of our own reality.
Absolutely.
And we can do that.
Right.
I also wanted to talk about what you mentioned in that blog was that to stay focused and on task, we create a priority bully.
Yeah,
I like her. She's
absolutely,
pretty cool.
she's very effective. Yeah. So this is an idea that I picked up out of a book. The name of it is "F It." I'm going to do what I love to do, and I always look for tools that help my clients move to focus versus hocus pocus, right? And the priority bully is somebody who it becomes a persona for you that will make you sit and do the thing you need to do, and if you try to get up to do something else, it will stand at the door and say no, go back to your desk and finish this project or whatever it is. It's this priority bully will punch other priorities in the nose.
Like it.
Yeah, so it takes a really aggressive stance on helping you do what you want to do, right? Ultimately, you're doing this thing because you know it's something you want to do for yourself.
Okay.
And you know it's important. So you call on this bully to kind of handle all of those outside distractions that could come into play.
And in your blog too, I remember you were talking about here's how you make more time for yourself. Mm-hmm. And there's a number of ways to do that, but we were just talking, you can hire somebody else to take care of things that either you're not very good at or don't like to do.
Right.
And so there are plenty of people we can hire to help us out with tasks that they quite frankly may love. I don't like doing my taxes.
Exactly.
Somebody else might enjoy accounting.
Well, and I like to say, hey, let's have our not to-do list be longer than our to-do list.
Oh, I like that.
And so let's spend less time doing the things that we don't enjoy. Figure something out. It can be even barter with somebody to do these things, right? It doesn't have to cost you money. Let's do the things that we don't like to do faster, right? So, okay, I'm going to unload the dishwasher. I'm going to time myself and see how fast I can empty this dishwasher.
That's
let's
dangerous.
Let's get that stuff done quickly.
Yeah. And stop thinking about it.
And move along to do the things that are more important to our lives. So, there are lots of techniques to help us concentrate on the right things, the things that bring us more bang for our buck.
And be more mindful about
and be
what we're wasting time on.
What we're not
enjoying.
Where are we spending our time? And again, go back to that not to-do list and make it larger than your to-do list.
I know from talking to Donna that this coaching business can be very emotional. So I'd like to ask you, when there's a breakthrough, I imagine it's profound. And what does a breakthrough look like?
So if my clients aren't emotional when I'm working with them, they're not doing the work because they have to get vulnerable in order to change.
So you can tell when they're faking it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And of course, it's very difficult when you're in that hot seat, right? So I'll give you a couple of examples of emotional breakthroughs. I had a client who ready to quit her job. She was at wit's end because she was a great worker and work kept flowing to her because she got it done. And instead of, I said, okay, let's take a step back and let's think about what you want out of this job. And could you ask for what you want from your boss?
I bet that was terrifying to her.
Oh my God, she said, absolutely no way. And I said, let's role play. Let's practice this so you get comfortable asking for what you want.
And that practice really does help.
Oh my gosh.
You hear yourself
Yeah.
saying it.
Yeah.
You feel a little stronger every time you do it.
Yeah. And it sucks the emotion out of it.
Okay.
So that
It's
you
not-
can
you're
walk
not
in
so raw.
feeling
Okay.
feeling solid in what you want.
Sure.
So she did go into her boss, and this was about also taking control of her life, which she didn't realize she had that control.
She really didn't think about it.
No, she didn't think there was another option for her. So
she was stuck.
She was stuck. And so after the role playing, she went into her boss. Her boss had no idea that she was unhappy, that she was overwhelmed, and was more than happy to accommodate her needs. She was such a great employee.
Great
Of
worker.
course, he wanted to take care of her.
Right.
And so she not only didn't quit her job and that financial security, she ended up creating the job that she wanted just by being brave and by taking that chance and by practicing before she went in to talk to her boss.
And that's why visualizing is so important.
Oh my gosh,
because she
it's
could
such a big-
imagine the job.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I had another client who lost her husband during the year. And she was at a complete loss as to what her identity was now that she wasn't part of this couple. And she was at a complete loss of what she was going to do with her life besides being grief. And so we worked through it, and she finally gave herself enough grace to take some brave steps in honor of her husband.
Wow.
And was able to come out of being in her house 24/7 and to start doing some of the things that she loved doing.
Boy, that's huge.
And with acceptance for that grief and that change.
So honoring
Yeah, and
the
that
past.
was a really emotional transformation for sure.
Wow. Well, I'm sure that happens to so many
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Just change alone changes your circumstances. You might lose a job. Your kids might move out of the house. You may lose a spouse, and there's change. And so
And there's your identity.
Their
your
identity.
Complete loss of identity. Who am I now?
Scary
And
place.
when we've been doing something for 50 years, for 40 years, for 30 years, that's a really difficult question and something that we really need to spend a lot of time on and have somebody who's our cheerleader who
Yeah.
believes in, as a coach, I believe in you more than you believe in yourself in this particular moment.
hence the need for a coach at all stages of life.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had one more that, and this wasn't as emotional, but it still speaks to what we're not conscious of going on in our heads. So I was working with this was a young gal, and as we were working together, and she was talking about her hopes and dreams, and she had many, which was awesome. She brought up several times that she didn't want to make too much money, or there was this, I don't want to be like super rich, and that's not what I want. And when I pointed, after she had said several statements like that, I pointed out to her, I said, do you realize how limiting that is? And is that really what you want? You don't want money?
What was
And
that?
she said, oh, no, that's not at all. She goes, I can't believe I even said those things.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that's how we don't realize what we're thinking,
saying to ourselves.
until we get it out into the world,
Oh my
where
gosh.
it can be examined.
Great examples.
Yeah.
I want to let people know that you have been visioning, meditating, and manifesting since you were a girl, which just tells me that you are an incredible old soul and you have so much wisdom. And you truly believe that we can create our own reality, and you believe that, and you have made it real in your life.
Well, for example, I've been studying to be a life coach for over 25 years, but I didn't pull the trigger until 5 years ago.
Wow.
because I knew all this stuff intellectually. But then I finally said, okay, I got to walk the walk.
Now, I bet you were coaching, though, your friends.
Oh, of course I
your
was.
Kids.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
again, like I told you, I was taking people through meditations when I was 10 years old. And I had
love that.
vision books when I was 5 and 6. And it's something that's it's just always been in my soul.
Wow.
And I finally got to the point where it was like, okay, if fear was stopping me, that was the big monster that was stopping me from actually taking the plunge and actually becoming a life coach. And I can't tell you the difference it's made in my life.
Wow. So move forward with the fear.
Yeah, and we can all do it.
Now, Donna shared with me that she knew her purpose when she was young. And her purpose, what she's meant to do on this planet, is to serve others. Now, Donna, I know that you've been in the beer industry for a while before you became a life coach, but maybe that's not what we're talking about, serving others.
Well, but I was the beer princess, so of course I served others. Yeah.
It's just followed you through life.
Yeah, and so many of my skills that are kind of my innate skills were so helpful in the beer industry. And when I rolled out laptop computers to the field sales force, it was a hand-holding process for sure. And I got to use my communication skills in the training and in the development too, because I was liaison between sales and IT, which was those two properties don't really talk well to each other. So I was able, and being able to share a vision and hold people to that vision, because it was a tough process to get everybody to believe that this was important.
And this was the way of the future.
And this was the way of the
here
future.
To stay, this whole computer thing. Yeah, for sure.
So I think we all continue to use the things that we know are our natural skills in any job that we're working in, hopefully. So but I always knew that serving others and making sure that, or trying to instill in others that they are worthy of a life that they deem exciting, fulfilling, joyous, doing things that make their heart sing.
I love that. And I love that if we go back to what made us excited and happy and playful when we were children, if we can remember that feeling, you really can tap into that. And I always think that's the sign, if I'm doing something and I'm so involved in it, I'm so excited, and I don't need to eat, I don't need to sleep, I just cannot wait to keep moving forward and see what happens next. And I think that's where you go, where you really feel like you're on course.
Well, and I have a little exercise that I have my clients do. If they're stuck, I say, okay, I want you to go outside and I want you to skip, because that brings us to such an ingrained part of childhood, and you can't be mad or angry or whatever negative emotion there is if you're out skipping.
I never thought
so
of that.
it's a fun little
Absolutely.
exercise, and it does help them kind of get unstuck for a moment.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, to always
sure it makes
remain
you
playful.
laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's hilarious.
It makes you relax. It's funny, when we were children, we didn't think about how do we skip. But when you said that, I thought, gosh, I hope I can remember how to do that. But that would be funny
that's
too.
because we didn't worry about what other people thought of us
Yeah.
as children.
Gosh.
So if we can just get back to there, man, our lives would be
That's
so
the
much
goal.
better. Yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
I love it. I love it. Well, Donna, I want to thank you so much for joining us. You've given us so many nuggets of wisdom that we can all work on, and I will continue to look forward to reading your blogs, your e-newsletters that
Thank
you
you,
put out
Bonnie.
every month. And we should note that Donna is the owner of Donna Whitley Life Coaching. She helps people find clarity around what goals are truly important to them to help them move their lives from where they are to where they want to be. So to get unstuck and get moving in the right direction for your heart and soul, you can find Donna at donna@donnawhitley.lifecoaching.com. I hope today has inspired you to call upon your priority bully, to build your winning muscle, and to truly be that person that you know in your heart that you were born to be. This is Zonie Living, Business, Adventure, and Leadership. I'm Bonnie Stevens.